Okay. So, meditation is not an activity that you perform or that somebody performs. One could say that meditation is like resting as your true nature, resting as the source, resting as your very self. So it is more of a turning your attention inward, turning your attention upon its source. Keep in mind that language is limited. So as best you can, rest as being, not as being somebody or as being in any special way or special experience, but rather simply as being. Invite your mind to rest in the space within which it appears. We are not seeking an experience because all experiences are temporary. We are not seeking a better state because all states are of the mind and they have a beginning and an ending. In the absence of any seeking, you are not absent. In other words, the absence of seeking does not signify your absence. Your absence as presence, as awareness, as consciousness. Because you are not turning your attention onto your body, onto past memories or future hopes and thoughts. The mind is at rest. Life sprouts out of this restfulness. Perception appears out of this stillness and appears within this stillness. No effort is needed to recognize yourself as this silent, still presence. Effort is needed to maintain a story, to maintain an argument, to maintain the past and the future, to maintain a personal image. But as awareness, no effort is needed. In recognizing yourself as this reality that perceives. I, that very term, I, does not refer to something you perceive, something that you imagine. The term I refers to the reality of being, the reality of awareness. Being, which is undeniable, awareness, which is undeniable. The undeniable reality of consciousness. So the I consciousness is not an object that you experience or that you perceive. Objects being a limited form, mind form. Consciousness being the undeniable reality which perceives, which is. In the Sufi tradition, they speak about the fana. Fana is the death, the ending, the dissolution of the illusory separate self into the universal self, Allah. They say, Anal Fana, I am the absence. Presence is the absence. which is quite different from I am the body, I am person, I am a personal reality, I am this brain activity. As you overlook your true self, your true identity, as this borderless aware presence, you descend into the download of being somebody, being a body-mind person, with the sense of lack, meaning desire, seeking the fulfillment of your true nature, seeking happiness. Outside of consciousness, via experiences, or via forms, or via objects. And you experience the sense of impending doom, fear, and resistance about your ending, because all forms are bound by time and space, the beginning and ending. Because the belief that I am a personal self, that I am the body-mind, is untrue, meaning it is not based upon reality. It is just a belief, an unfounded belief. Because a belief that I am a man, I'm a woman, I'm a person is untrue. The desires of this illusory me will never be fulfilled. The desires of an imaginary character are imaginary desires. And within the dream of imagination and belief, we believe and we feel that we are attaining, we are fulfilling our desire. While in fact, we are deep down praying for the end of desire. Because it is within desirelessness that resides the peace of being, and not within the fulfillment of desire. Sometimes in our confusion, we have a new desire, which is the end of all desires. Desiring desirelessness. Which is more desire. And the mind says, give me something to bite my teeth into. And consciousness says, I am. And the mind goes, well, what do I do with that? I mean, give me something to do with it. Somewhere to go, some goal to achieve, some state, some experience, some bliss. Give me something. And consciousness says, I am the one reality. There is nothing beyond consciousness. So what could I be lacking? And yet this life is so creative and such abundance. It can be such a celebration to be together, to go for a walk, to invite friends over. To learn how to play a musical instrument, to travel the world. Such freedoms, so many possibilities. Which arise out of our joy and our freedom, which is the joy and freedom of consciousness. In complete freedom of attachment to any outcome. Like a leaf leaves the branch and dances whichever way the wind blows onto the ground. Not seeking any particular landing place. Moment by moment, this moment right now, a moment of joy and freedom and happiness and celebration. Of what? of life, of consciousness, of being, of love, of beauty, celebration of being, a celebration of whichever form consciousness presents to us, to itself, from itself to itself. So our heart is fulfilled, not because of any reason, but it's fulfilled in knowing itself. Not imagining itself to be a great person or a successful meditator, but knowing itself as the universal presence, the light which shines within us in so many ways. It shines as sensation, as a smile, as a sound, as a feeling, as peace, as contemplation of truth, as the sun shining through the window, as the song of the birds. Can you get in tune with that? Only impersonal desires are fulfilled. Because they arise out of your freedom, out of your love, out of happiness, out of the source. And they're instantaneously fulfilled. Because they arise from fulfillment. And they're therefore fulfilled as they arise in that very instant, which is not an instant in time. You are the vastness of being. The peace, the love, the beauty. You are seeking that which you are. You are that. If you have any questions, please go ahead.
Hi, Magdi. It's Marga.
Hello, Marga.
Hi.
Hi.
That was so beautiful, and I just wanted to say thank you. I get the sensation in listening to the words, like my head is a very heavy bowling ball that I get to put down. And it's such a relief. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Any questions?
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Holly.
Hey.
Hey.
So I feel more or less like this is what your meditation was about already, and it was also a question that I had in my mind. So I might just ask if you can talk a little bit more about the misconception that experiences can fulfill. And today I was thinking about it in the context of that we maybe delay our realization by holding on to these sort of ideas of things that we need to accomplish in the world or experience in the world, kind of before we can really fully let go.
So, Holly, experiences have the relationships of two events. So, like, I started cooking the meal, and the meal is cooked. So, the experience is cooking the meal. So, there are two events, or a series of two events, or a spread of events, which are the experiences, they form the experience. But we don't experience two events. Like right now, there is this experience and then this and this. We just experience this. We never experience this and that. There may be an image or a thought that says this and that, but that very thought that says this and that is just this. So experience, which seems to be in the conventional way, we look at it as something happening in time, in fact, doesn't align itself with our experience. Because we don't experience this series of events simultaneously. In other words, we don't experience time. We experience whatever this is. Whichever way the mind interprets it, says, oh, this is an apple, this is a banana, this is, cooking, whatever. Doesn't matter what the narrative is. It still is this. And what is this? This is consciousness. It takes on the form of this, or that, or this. It's always consciousness, awareness, because you cannot remove consciousness out of this and still have this. You cannot remove this. There is that which is unremovable from your experience. You can remove your experience. You can go from the kitchen to the living room. You just remove the kitchen. And you can remove the living room by, you go to bed and now you have no more, you go to sleep and there's no more house, no more body. So therefore the content of this can change, this can change. But there is the unchanging. So the unchanging is presence, awareness, consciousness. So if experience, whatever experience is, a journey in time, or a journey to Mars, or a journey through the cosmic universe, if experience is about happiness, and if happiness is real, not the happiness that somebody out there is smoking a heavy joint and says, oh yeah, I've got it for you. No, it's got to be real. Because we're interested in reality. So if our experience is about happiness, therefore about reality, we've already examined that in our experience this moment, there is that which is real, which cannot remove it. It's unremovable, which is awareness, consciousness. That which is unremovable, which does not appear and disappear, is real. That which appears and disappears is mind stuff. Not a problem. No judgment about it, but it's just mind stuff. So if happiness is real, then it must be consciousness. Then consciousness and happiness must be that one reality. You don't have two realities. The reality of consciousness and another reality called happiness. So the myth that experience leads to happiness is the result of an improper or incomplete examination or contemplation of what experience really truly means. And it's an incomplete and insufficient contemplation of that which is real, which is happiness consciousness. So the promise, seeking happiness, is like you're in the water and you're seeking wetness. You are the it's like a wave seeking to be water. It's already water. It's already water. Now, in life, we have a lot of desires. I would love to see you, to get together, say hello to Emma. We have impersonal desires that arise out of love, out of friendship, out of beauty, out of the sweetness of being. And so a desire, an impersonal desire, is not seeking something outside of itself. It's just expressing, like if a rose blooms and it expresses the perfume. So the impersonal desire is just an expression of the perfume of love and beauty and happiness. But it's not attached to a result. It's not seeking. It's not that impatient, like looking for, tapping your foot, when is that going to happen? When is that going to finally happen? When am I going to finally get it? When am I going to finally realize blah, 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 blah. That is a belief, an unexamined belief that I am a separate self. Because as soon as in one form or the other, I start to feel myself, experience myself as somebody, a son, a daughter, somebody with a past and a future, I've already separated myself from happiness. Because I've limited myself. This is not possible to experience limitation and happiness at the same time. You can experience the limitation of the body. Of course, the body is limited. You can only stay awake so many hours. I can only stay so many days without eating, etc. But I'm not talking about the body or about my car or about talking about I. You see, as soon as I become limited, then the sense of lack is on board, and I'm immediately seeking happiness somehow. Maybe my guru will give me something, money or sex or bigger home or lottery or perfect body, whatever. Because the sense of lack is there, and the sense of lack is intolerable. We cannot tolerate the sense of lack. So we have to get rid of it. We don't know how. So we say, well, ice cream or, get high, whatever, I don't know, something. We're looking for the peace of being in an experience. An experience, whatever that is, whichever way you define it, is a limited, some sort of limitation. Even if you get $1 million, it's limited. So be fluid with your desires. Be dense. Be like a dancer with a desire. How the music, it may go this way, it may go that way. We don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because we're dancing. There's nothing at stake. You're not in a competition to win. Yeah, maybe you're in a competition even to win, but it's playful. It's playful, Oh, I became in second place, whatever. It's still playful. It's joyful. And joy is now. The joy is now. And so we say, well, where is joy now? We already are joy. But when I am looking for joy or for peace or for happiness, I'm not looking at in terms of being it, then there is the impression that something is missing. Something is missing. And we can take a look at that. Say, well, wait a minute. If something is missing, really, if truly something is missing, then it must be truly available now. Because if it is missing in an absolute sense, then who cares? If having 5 fathers and 6 mothers is missing, who cares? Well, I don't care. But if something is missing in some other non-absolute sense, then it must be also able to be found here. So if that which is real is missing, Because who cares if something which is unreal is missing? You know, if my third thumb is missing, who cares? It's unreal, right? It has to be real. If one of my two thumbs is missing, then it's real. So it's important to look at reality, at that which is real. If something is really missing, then it is real. If it's real, then it cannot be missing. How can reality be missing? You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the impression of missing is a false impression. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's a false impression. So when you see the false, you say, you know, I'm just looking at my third thumb. You know, when you realize it's false, you're back where, as you are. So the peace of being is not about attaining the peace, but it's about removing the illusion of non-peace. And the illusion of non-peace is the belief that I am a separate consciousness, that I am not the reality of being, that I am Magdi, I'm this body, I'm this man, I'm this great guy or poor guy or bad guy, whatever, whichever way, you know, the mind just keeps spinning, driving you crazy. Yeah, I'm like this, oh, no, I'm like that, I'm like this, I'm like that, drives you crazy. Even in your night dreams, you're just still crazy about what am I? So there's no problem with desire and aspirations. Yeah, go for it, enjoy. Remain happy.
Yeah.
Playful. There's magic in being playful, enjoying. Look at the children, you know, how they play with anything. They're fascinated by it. They pebble. And the joy, the magnificence of being. This is, it's our true nature. So available, so present for us to explore and rejoice. By the way, the ring is really beautiful.
Oh, good.
Thank
you. Thank you.
I love it.
Good.
People who don't know, Holly is a jeweler. She makes really beautiful jewelry.
Thank you.
Yes, she does.
Yes, you know. It's like, wow, Holly made this. Okay, Holly.
Thank you, Magdi.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions? Oh, okay, Umer. Oof, oh yeah, the chat. Oh my goodness. Why don't you just, whoever has a question, just speak the question. We're going to read all this. It's too much. Oh, your mic is not working, Umer. Okay, let me see then. One moment. Okay, so let me scroll up here. Oh, how do you do this? Okay. Okay. Let me see. Well, Jacob has a lot of things also, he said. Okay. Oh, okay. So Umer has no questions. All right. Fine. Well, whoever has questions.
Hey Magdi, hi, it's Esther.
Hello, Esther.
Would you talk about the universal body and universal mind?
Yes. So if you look at the realm of sensation, the sensory body, the body of the senses. The senses, sensations appear in the space. Actually, sensations appear as the space. When you look at the sensation without looking at the concept, when you are not looking at the past, when you are not looking at a definition, when you're not looking at the judgment, when you're looking at the sensation, you are looking at the universal body. Because when you look at the sensation, it takes you beyond it. It takes you to so your body, outside of an image, outside of a concept, outside of a belief about the skin and bones, and your actual body is your sensory body, not the body of your imagination, or not the body of your construct, not the construct body. So when you look at your body outside of the conditioned mind, it's the realm of sensation. As well as the realm of perception, because the world and the body, they appear within the same space. One could say that, okay, the world appears within my body. The oak tree appears within me. But in fact, it's more proper to say that the world and the realm of sensation and my body appear in the same space, which is the universal space, the space of being, this universal realm. But it's not a physical universal realm in that it's made out of so many galaxies and it's expanding. It's not the realm of form. It is the realm in which all forms appear and out of which all forms appear. So in fact, the universal body and is the realm of sensations. And the universal mind one could say is the realm of mentation, thoughts and images and concepts and the mind, that which appears as thought and images, memories, appears within that same space and does not appear as an actual physical form. It appears as the space. It's like the emptiness resonates a certain vibration, and that vibration is not a specific vibration. It's a vibration that covers all the frequencies, all the amplitudes. Beyond what the mind can comprehend. So the universal body and universal mind, which means the realms of sensation and the realm of mentation, express the vastness, the borderlessness of consciousness. Without any personal entity. And you recognize yourself as that universal vastness. And this recognition is not a personal recognition. It removes the impression of personhood. And restores itself, which is the absolute order. And the universal body and universal mind, although they take on a local form, such as a particular bundle of sensations and thoughts, which we recognize as individual sensations, such as the sensation of my belly and the sensation of your feet on the ground. Although universal body and universal mind take on a local form, it does not precipitate a different reality from itself. So the universal realm, although at the local level appears local, it's still universal. Like the sun may shine brightly onto the surface of the lake and less brightly under the canopy of the forest, more diffuse light. Although at the local level, there seems to be a particular body and a different location, a different body, a different sensory realm, it is still the same sun. It is still that one sun. It's still the rays of the one sun. Or like in the ocean, although at some particular parts of the ocean there are some currents of water, and other parts of the ocean different currents, it's still one ocean. It's all water. So the local realm of sensations are in fact universal. And the local realm of mentation are in fact universal. So it's an impersonal universe.
Thanks, Magdi. Every time you talk about this, it gets more clear. It just seems so. If there is no personal I, then all that is apparently happening is universal.
Yes.
The last thing you said, there is no, it's impersonal.
Yes.
So thanks a lot.
Okay, Esther.
Hey, Maggie, I've got a question.
Yes.
You talk about
Frank. Yes, Frank.
you talk about the birthing process and how that whole thing happens in consciousness.
The birthing.
Birthing, yeah.
Yes. Yes. So birth is a mind event. It's not a consciousness event. So birth is a latent desire for experience that blooms, sprouts as birth. The seed of desire not being extinguished sprouts as so-called birth, and there is a mind experience of forms arising, perceptions, sensations. But from the perspective of consciousness, reality, there is no desire. There is no personal desire. So, from the perspective of consciousness, there isn't a particular mind that is of any interest. Yet one could say that the entire realm of birth and death impressions throughout the universes is the impersonal desire of consciousness. But as you arrive at this understanding, personal desire is no longer on board, and personal birth and death is no longer on board. And yet, the cosmic dream goes on. So it is essential that you comprehend your birthlessness and deathlessness, so that the personal impression of limitation and unhappiness, which we refer to as the wheel of samsara, comes to an end. From another perspective, one could say that birth and, of course, death, because they're the flip side of the same coin, are not about birth and death. Rather, they're about birthlessness and deathlessness. They're about eternity. And if you comprehend that, then you are on board to live your life mining for truth, mining for that which is absolute, that which does not depend on conditions and situations and dream events, which in a way is what you are doing right now, which is what we are doing by being together in this meeting and other ways in our life. Then you get the true answer to your question via your direct understanding, your direct comprehension. So birth and death which we imagine occurs in time, in fact, it's not occurring in time, it's occurring in Shiva's mind, Shiva's dream. Like in your night dream, there is the birth and death of infinite characters, events, and situations, which may seem to take years or decades or centuries, while in fact they're occurring within your dream mind. So the impression that of linearity, the impression of linear time, meaning the impression of birth and death, is a dream impression, a mind impression. And you know that experientially by the very fact that all sorts of appearances appear to you changing, constantly changing, while you are changeless.
So Magdi, so because I'm getting more and more sort of a realization that, like, we always think of somebody waking up to enlightenment, like so and so, oh, he's enlightened, but it's more like the reality of it is that it's really awareness that's waking up to itself in that body mind. Waking up,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So would that be can I use that same idea to say that when a baby is born, it's almost like awareness is, consciousness is saying, oh, I'm being born as a baby, almost like in a dream-like state, because a baby can't just pick up awareness along the way. It's already there. It's born into it, right? So it's really a consciousness that's thinking, oh, or believing or dreaming that, oh, I'm being born here as a baby named Joe or whatever. And then slowly it comes to see that it was never that baby. It was always consciousness. Is this the way to look at it?
Baby's mind up to a point and to a certain extent is sort of formless in that it's a diffuse realm of forms until the sense of subject and object arises, which takes a little while. I'm not sure what age, but at some point there is, oh, I am separate from my mother. There is a sense of subject and object. So yes, the diffuse realm of forms, which eventually takes the form of this is this and that is that and I am me. And then it continues over the years. All of it is the currents within the ocean. A very faint current starting to form, and then more and more, and now it becomes sort of a larger current. And it's all of it is water. It's all consciousness. But the understanding, the journey within the play and the creativity of consciousness is that this diffuse realm of perceptions at some point leads to subject-object. There is the objective realm and the subjective realm. And my life, the sense of separation, and the seed within that sense of separation is to return, not to return to the diffuse realm of experience, but to return to the pre-existence. So, as the sense of separation is firming itself up, firming itself, which we refer to as the ego. And then as the unhappiness starts at a certain age, the unhappiness starts to sort of increase. And then we're struggling to try to find a way. What we are seeking is to, beyond the dream, we're seeking to sort of be pre-birth. But we cannot go to the pre-birth until the seed of ignorance, or the seed which keeps sprouting as the personal mind, which we refer to as ignorance, the belief in being me, until that seed has been killed. It will resprout like the bamboo, the bamboo root. So, in terms of your question, I'm not sure if I'm addressing it correctly, but it is all the dream of consciousness. But when we hear the message, hearing the message is that happiness, which we are seeking, cannot be achieved by sprouting. It can be achieved by going down to the seed and exterminating ignorance within the seed.
Just one last thing about this. The reason I brought this up is because I was listening to someone the other day talk about how the baby, when a baby is in the womb, at a certain point, consciousness comes in, and I thought to myself, that doesn't make any sense to me. This is a very well-known spiritual teacher, and I thought that doesn't make any sense to me that a baby, like 7, 8, I think he said 6th or 7th week starts getting consciousness, and I thought, how could that happen? Because consciousness is always there, anyways. And everything comes out of, the way I understand it, everything comes out of consciousness. So there can be a time where, like you said the other day, where consciousness didn't exist, where it just comes in after a certain time. So that's why it got me thinking all this other stuff. But
when you say a baby is a mind experience. It's not consciousness. It's not consciousness. It's not consciousness coming into a baby or consciousness becoming a baby. It is a mind experience. So the baby initially is a diffuse realm of experience. Sensations, perceptions, flapping the thumb, opening the eye, looking around, closing the eye. It's a realm of sensations. And that's mind. The realm of sensation and thoughts and perceptions is ongoing. Right now, in this moment, this perception is mind. So the baby aspect of the human experience is mind, but in diffuse form. Borderline like somebody who's like very drunk or something like that. It's just a bundle of images and sensations. So it's not like suddenly consciousness is coming into birth or something like that. Consciousness doesn't die or is not born. It's not a phenomenal thing. Consciousness doesn't come and go. But consciousness, in this moment, this experience is nothing without consciousness. So one could say that consciousness, although it is not an object, although it is not a form, it's taking on the form of this form right now. And it keeps changing, keeps changing. Keeps changing. We blink, when we blink at the eye, for example, there is a moment, an instant where there is no perception, right? If you slow motion the eyelids, that there is a moment where there is no perception, then the eyelids open again. So the realm of experience is ongoing, and it is consciousness that takes on this form, because you cannot remove consciousness and still have an experience. And at the same time, the experience is not separate from I consciousness. The experience and I consciousness are one. So it is the ocean that's taken on the form of waves. A baby is nothing else but a baby wave. What's the big deal? Why are we making a big deal out of a baby? Or out of a 95-year-old body mind? It's all wave, a small wave, a teeny tiny ripple, a big wave. It's all this, it's all at the same level. Not to make a big deal out of a wave or no wave. Yeah, there are moments where there are no waves. I was sailing once from Corsica to Nice, and there was from Nice to Corsica in sailboat. And at one moment it was like, you're not moving. The sail is up, but it's like zero wind. So there are moments where there are no waves. So what? That's not the point. The key thing about consciousness to comprehend is the following: that consciousness takes on the form of world, body, mind. We have an experience of that. We have an experience of consciousness take on the form of a sensation. The sensation of hunger, for example. We all know hunger, right? So that's body. It takes on the form, consciousness takes on the form of a thought, mind, of thought. I remember my mother, or I remember today is Thursday. This is a thought. And also, obviously, consciousness takes on the form of a perception. Right now I'm perceiving colors, shapes, whatever. So it's very important to understand that consciousness takes on the form of world, body, mind, and that the world, body, mind that the consciousness takes on doesn't make consciousness become a body, or become a tree, or become an apple, or become, it's like when you're dreaming, you take on the form of a pink flying elephant. It doesn't mean that you, the dreamer, have become a pink flying elephant. The other thing that's important to understand is that consciousness doesn't need the world, body, mind. It does not depend on the world, body, mind. How do we know that? What do you mean? What are you saying? What do you mean it doesn't depend on the world, body, mind? I've never experienced consciousness without the world, body, mind. That's not true. You have experienced consciousness without the world, body, mind. Your experience, your predominant experience is consciousness without the world, body, mind. because consciousness knows itself. It knows itself without the world, body, mind. It knows that it is, but you're not aware. You, meaning within the mind doesn't have an awareness. Within the mind, there is no awareness that consciousness knows itself. This is why in satsang we say, okay, listen, consciousness knows itself. And the mind goes, duh, what are you talking about? Explain it to me. And so we say, okay, ask yourself the question, am I conscious? Say, okay, I'll give it a try. And they look and say, yeah, I am conscious. Then we say, well, how did you ask your mind? Did you ask your body? Did you ask did you ask your banker? Did you ask your priest? Did you go to the world, the body and the mind to find out whether you're conscious? And the answer is no. I know that I'm conscious directly. The consciousness knows itself, knows that it is, and knows that it is aware. Do you know that you're aware? Yeah, I know I'm aware. Well, who did you ask? How do you know? Are you sure, 100% sure that you're aware? Yes, I am 1,000% sure that I'm aware. Well, how do you know? Who did you ask? I didn't ask anybody. Consciousness knows within itself, it is made out of, that's what we say in Sanskrit, they say Satchitananda, being, meaning it is, isness. It is made out of isness, being aware. Satchi, sat, present, chit, awareness. It's very important to understand that consciousness does not depend on the world, body, mind. You do not depend on your night dreams. You don't. Why do you dream them? Because you like to dream them. You dream them because you want to dream them. Because you are the creator, you create them. Consciousness does not depend on the brain, does not depend on gravity, does not depend on the body. The body is nothing without consciousness. What would the body be without consciousness? Imagine there is no consciousness, would there be a body? If I ask you to trade consciousness and your body, which one would you trade?
Tough one.
Tough one.
Yeah, I get what. Thanks, Magdi. Appreciate it.
Okay.
To rewatch when you send it up. I appreciate it.
All right, Frank.
Get all these touchdowns. Thanks.
Cool. You're welcome. Any questions? Okay. Thank you all. Holger. Thank you, Frank. Isaac. Richard. George. Esther. Karen. Marga. Zoe. Grace. Holly. And Des, hello Des. Andrew, hi Andrew. Jacob. And Ola Emmanuel. Thank you all.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.